Hi everyone! Over a week ago, I posted a poll or a survey on the community tab of my YouTube page. So I asked you guys whether you water your desert cacti during the winter. And so the result says 52% of you said yes, 36% said no, and the rest, or about 11%, are unsure of their answer. If you want to know my answer to that question, grab a cup of hot coffee or tea and watch the rest of this video. Hi again, if you are new here, my name is Anna. In this channel, I share with you my hobby of growing cactus and other desert plants while I take a sip of my favorite beverage, a hot cup of coffee. So going back to that survey that I told you about, so majority of you who said yes and actually made comments below that survey, you explained that you water your cacti or your desert cacti even during the winter because you live in a country or in a place where winter is relatively mild compared to other places, or you probably live in a tropical country so you don't have a very cold winter, you don't have winter at all. And then also some of you said that you water your cactus but you do selective watering. It also depends on where you keep your cactus during the winter, whether they're indoors or outdoors. For those who said no, and reading through the comments, it's mostly because you live in a country where winter gets very, very cold and very wet. So some of you have snow during your winter time. So for those of you, you said you keep your desert cacti completely bone dry all throughout the winter. There is no right or wrong answer, by the way. So I just did that survey just so I will learn from you guys, and I want all of us to learn from each other because we all live in a different type of environment. Although we all take care of desert plants, I am, very much aware that a lot of us live in totally different types of environments. So it is a learning experience for me and hopefully to all of us as well. Now, to answer that question, I live in Nevada, in the desert of Las Vegas, Nevada. So my answer to that question is yes. I also water my cacti during the winter. And I do selective watering. Now let me explain the reasons behind why I decided to water my desert cacti during the winter. So the first reason why I water my cacti even during winter is to prevent root loss. Now I learned this the hard way because during one winter when I tried to withhold water for as long as I can, I found out that some of my cacti actually lost their roots. So this cactus right here, it lost its roots, as well as my Ming thing, it lost its roots. What else? A mellow cactus. This gymnocalycium right here also suddenly deflated like a ball, and I found out when I unpotted it, it actually had no more roots. So they did not die, they survived it, but it took them a long time to bounce back and regain their roots. I actually made a video last year, and that video of mine was entitled Why and How I Water My Cacti During the Winter. So in that video, I told you that I came across an article explaining why this happens. So why some cactus lose their roots, not because of root rot, but they just suddenly lose their roots during prolonged period of dry spell or long period of dryness. So I will post a link on that article again down this video, and then I will show you an excerpt of that article in this screen. Isn't that amazing? It is actually a survival strategy of a cactus. That is why they sometimes lose their roots. But like I said, it doesn't kill the cactus, but it just takes a long time for them to regain their roots. That sometimes, they miss out on the flowering season because instead of devoting their energy to producing flower buds, they devote most of their energy into growing back their roots. These two are Tephrocarctus. So this is Tephrocarctus articulatus or the paper spine cactus, and this one is the inermis type, the one without spines. So these two, I always try to water them during winter, although they still look dehydrated. But I water them because I found out that when these get severely dehydrated, they have the tendency to drop their segments, if you can call this balls segments. They have the tendency to drop them. In fact, I have here two that dropped off from this pot. So these just recently dropped this winter because I forgot I had this tucked way below underneath there, and I did not find out that it was already severely dehydrated until I found segments dropped on the floor or on the rack. So I have two here that I will be trying to root. So this is another reason why for this type of cactus I try to keep them hydrated during the winter. When I see buds forming, I also water those cacti because it just proves that they're not actually dormant. They're actively growing at this time. So I want to encourage the buds to develop and the flowers to eventually open. So I water those with flower buds on it. The seedlings, of course, I have some seedlings that I am growing here in the greenhouse. I regularly water them. And what else? The tropical type of cactus, of course, I keep them hydrated or I water them still, like the Thanksgiving cactus, Christmas cactus, the dragon fruit. In fact, anything that grows hanging, for me, hanging down, like the monkey's tail, dog's tail, I find that they like a little bit of water even despite winter. Mellow cactus too. I found that out. My mellow cactus lost its roots one time that I kept it bone dry for a long period of time. So it lost its roots. It's okay now. It survived. It regained its roots. But yeah, if you keep a mellow cactus bone dry for a very long time, it will drop its roots. These grafted ones right here, I bought this already grafted, and they use a dragon fruit as a rootstock. So for these, I also water them this winter because I take care of the rootstock more than the scion. So even though the scion or the grafted cactus on top, even though they are desert type cacti, I take care of the rootstock. So I give this a little bit of water because it's growing on a dragon fruit. I also do selective watering. So if I see a cactus that is shriveling too much and too fast, I give it a little sip of water. Like this pharaoh cactus here does need a little bit of watering. And then this lobevia, it is shriveled at the bottom and it's starting to lean, so I will give that a little bit of water. And astrophytum as well. So these astrophytum, I keep them or I give them some moisture in the soil because my humidity here is so low. So even though it's winter, our humidity level right now is between 15 to 25%. So it is very, very low that these cacti actually don't have or are not able to get moisture from the air. So it's different if you have high humidity, so you can afford to keep them dry longer because they are able to absorb moisture in the air, but not in my environment here. So there's practically very little or no moisture, almost no moisture at all in the air for them to take in, so I would have to introduce some moisture in the soil just to keep them looking hydrated. So this one is also dehydrated, so I'll give this a little bit of water. Now, how do I water? When I water them, I just give them a sip of water, so I do not get the entire soil wet. I just give them a little bit of water, and then I wait for a week. I check the cactus. If it plumps back up, then I stop watering. But if it still looks severely dehydrated, I might give it another sip of water. But as soon as it plumps back up, then I stop watering the cactus. It is easier for me to water the cacti here inside my greenhouse whenever I think they need it, because I am able to regulate the temperature here. I have a heater, so I make sure not to let the temperature fall below freezing levels. But for my cacti that are planted in the ground outside in my garden, that is a different story. So that one is a little bit trickier. I still water them because our morning here we still get a lot of sunshine, but the night temperatures drops in the 30s degree Fahrenheit, so it is still very cold at night. So I water them because we haven't had rain here for the past 8 or 9 months, I would say. It drizzled a little bit in December, but it wasn't enough to get the ground wet. So we haven't had rain, so I have to water my cacti in the ground. But when I water those, I check the weather forecast, so I make sure that our night temperatures doesn't go below freezing level, at least for the next 5 days or the next week. If I see that there's no forecast of freeze in the next 5 days, then I give it a little bit of water as well. For the water that I use, rainwater is still the best, but like I told you, it hasn't rained here for several months now, so I have no choice but to use tap water when I water my cacti. What I've been doing recently is adjusting the pH level of my water. So first, I let the tap water sit in the bucket for at least 24 hours for the chlorine to evaporate, and then I add a few drops of vinegar to it to reduce the pH level of my tap water, because we have a very high pH level here for our tap water. It's at almost 8. So with vinegar, I am trying to reduce the pH level down to similar to what rainwater has. Rainwater has a pH level between 5 to 5.5. So this is something that I've just recently started doing. I just recently bought a pH meter stick to measure the pH level of my water. But if you have experience on adjusting the pH level of your water, or let me know in the comments down below what you do to your water if you use tap water when you water your plants or your cacti. So time to wrap up my video for now. So those are my thoughts about watering your cacti, your desert cacti during the winter. If you want to know the other tasks that I do during winter in preparation for spring, I will put a link to a video that I made about that last year. You'll see the link on top of this screen and down below this video. Alright, so if you like this video, guys, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you like cactus and other desert plants. And I'll talk to you again next time. Bye and cheers!